What happened?
Hey, good afternoon. How's everybody doing? Just do a wave. All right. I'm excited. This is the first time that I'm going to be sharing some information. I have a very special guest that I'm going to bring on later on, who's going to talk about a couple of things. We're collaborating on some stuff. She doesn't know, but I've been following her from afar for a minute. I'm very impressed by the things that she has accomplished through her nonprofit housing program. And so we're going to bring her on a little bit later. But one of the things that I want to talk about, I'm going to jump right in as everybody begin to just come in. For those that don't know me, have not done a live training with me, I'm Elder Keith Humes from howtoopenupahalfwayhouse.com. I've been at this thing now for, I guess, the last 20-something years, dealing with advocacy for homeless and recovering homes for people that are transitioning out of jail, out of prison, out of sober living, getting back on their feet, and all this good stuff. So before we start out, I always try to just kind of like put myself in the right frame of mind and my spirit in the right place. So if you all don't mind, I want to open up in prayer. All right. Spirit of the living God, I want to thank you for this gracious opportunity to come before you tonight. I ask, Father God, that you begin to speak through us, speak to us, and begin to move away barriers that are hindering those that are still struggling on drugs and alcohol. I want to pray for those that are stuck in their dysfunction, and want to pray, Father God, that we be able to be a conduit of help. In Jesus' name, amen. All right, that's out the way. So now, before I get started, let me first of all point out a lot of you all have a misconception about grants, okay, about the nonprofit side. So I want to clear some things up before we get started. Number one, when it comes down to me talking about setting up your nonprofit and your for-profit, your nonprofit should not be something dormant. It shouldn't be just sitting on the shelf waiting on somebody to just give you money so you can get started. It ain't no startup money thing for you to get started. You got to be doing things. Nonprofit is just what it says. It's not for profit, but it will put you in a position to be able to get funding necessary to fulfill your dream. All right, so let's make that clear. So a lot of you all are just sitting back waiting on, okay, I'm gonna wait till I get my 501c3 before you start moving. Well, let's get that out of the way. Stop doing that, because that's not gonna happen, y'all. Let me give you a little bit about my story. What you see right now today is a manifestation of a lot of sleepless nights, homeless nights, and a lot of struggles. I didn't have the luxury of having a millionaire just drop out of the sky and give me money. I had to go out there and I had to plow the field. I had to get up 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning to go pick up an addict who was still out there struggling. I went out in the crack house, in the dope house, on corners, passing out my flyers. But before I passed them out, I gave them something to eat. I didn't know what I was doing. All I knew was that I wanted to be a conduit of help. So a lot of you all are sitting back waiting on money to come in, but you're not putting in the legwork. If there is no outreach, you can't reach out. So you got to be able to brand yourself. You got to be visible in the community. You got to be able to touch people. You can't sit back and wait on something to fall out of the sky. This pie in the sky thing got to stop, y'all. Okay? So we got to get busy. Now, there are some of y'all that are actually on the front lines, and I'm looking at a couple of y'all right now. I know some of y'all don't like to be put out there, so I'm not going to say anything. All right? But for the most part, we got to stop and we got to take a step back and follow the process. I branded myself. I ended up getting over $1 million in funding, but that took time. If I wouldn't have never took the step, I wouldn't have never got what I got. So just sitting back thinking that, oh, all I got to do is come up with an idea and money's going to fall out the sky does not work, y'all. I mean, for some of y'all fortunate enough, it might work. I don't know. But for most of us in the real world, you got to go out there and let people know that you exist. You got to put some sweat equity in this. You got to actually get out there and start moving. Amen. You got to start doing things. You know, the money will come, but you got to put in the legwork, y'all. Okay. So Shara, can you share that video real quick? Give some motivation here.
Sir, I'm so sorry, but I did not receive the video. Can you please do it in your end?
All right. Okay. All right. So am I able to share my screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay, cool. I'm gonna share this video. And this is Lisa Michaels. She is such an inspiration to me. But I want to share this video.
I never let people call me a single mom by my title. I'm Lisa Nichols, who happens to be a single mother. Don't define me by my circumstances. Define me by my intention. But my biggest accomplishment is being willing to give myself 1,000 second chances. And every time I got to $9.99, I pressed reset. I went to the same conference 42 times. And there I raised $532,000 in capital for my company to start my dream. And my dream was to transform teen lives. I got fired from 5 different jobs. I was broke and I was broken. Yeah. And then I got pregnant with my son unexpectedly. And then at 8 months, my son's father went to prison. I went to the ATM to get $20 out the bank because I didn't have any Pampers for him. And in order to get $20 out, you got that $20 in. I had $11.42. For 2 days, I had to wrap my son in a towel. And I have my hand on his stomach saying, "Don't you worry, Jelani. Mommy will never be this broke again." And I looked at that baby at 8 months and I said, I want to transform your life because you didn't ask to come into this chaos. As an African-American male child in South Central Los Angeles with a single mother whose father's in prison, he had a 66% chance of going to prison himself. Not on my watch. Not Join the meeting. So if I have to be willing to drastically transform myself so that I can become the woman that I know I can be. I was bankrupt and trying to not ask anyone for help. I was bankrupt in everything that was holding me and keeping me where I was. I've always talked a good game, but I wasn't doing anything with my gift. And all that thing about potential, I was tired of having potential. I wanted to have my now. My grandmother said that conviction and comfort don't live in the same block. If you're going to be convicted about something, you might have to go through some discomfort. But if you want to stay comfortable, why don't you just relax where you are? Because that's where you're going to stay. Right. And so are you willing to reinvent who you are? Are you willing to kill away the procrastination? Are you willing to kill away the excuses, the blame game? Yeah. I didn't ask permission. I gave notice. At some point, I have to stop asking, can I be great? Can I be brilliant? Can I be okay and still be accepted? I just stopped asking permission and just gave notice unapologetically, not in a braggadocious way, not in a way that shrunk anyone else, in a way that said, I only got one life, and I'm gonna ride this one till the wheels fall off. And it didn't come from, a motivational experience. It didn't come from an inspiring teacher. It came from hitting rock bottom. And that was the beginning of me rescuing myself. I realized that I am my rescue. No one else is my rescue. I am.
Wow. 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 That's a moment there. That's a moment.
Yeah.
For everybody that's on Facebook and YouTube, I'm giving credit to the person that actually posted this. Lisa Nichols is my hero. She's my shero. I listened to her at a time when I was struggling on drugs and alcohol and trying to get my life together. So every time I even hear her speak, I get goosebumps because she was the reason why I decided to do something with my life. And I had this big vision with no money at all. I wanted to give back to folks that was just like me. I did 23 years in prison. I had absolutely nothing. If you read my book, my story goes way beyond that. It started in the womb. My mother and my father were both abandoned people. So they struggled with love. They didn't know how to. And I struggled with that rejection spirit all my life. And I'm not blaming anybody. It's just the power of overcoming all of that. So what you see today is just me taking myself and walking through, not overanalyzing, but actually becoming the person that I wanted to become. The reason why a lot of people never get to where they want to be is because they're holding on to who they used to be. You got to let go of those excuses. You got to stop saying, I don't have nobody to actually walk this out with me. Like I got no support. You got to stop saying that. As long as you got breath in your body, as long as you got a vision and a belief, then therefore the universe, God, whoever you call it to be, will come and manifest. Everything you need is already within you. Money has not left the earth, y'all. So they say, well, hard times. No, there are millionaires out there waiting to be assigned to you. All you got to do is walk out and grab them. If you don't get it, it's because you have not asked for it. You got to stop thinking that there is nobody going to rent you a house. There is nobody going to give you money. If you keep saying that, that's what shows up every day. You got to stop saying it. Okay? Lisa said she went to 42 of the same motivational meetings 42 times. Do you know I've knocked on the same doors over 1,000 times asking for donations and got turned away? I did that for a whole year. See, y'all got it good. Y'all got social media. I ain't have that. I had MySpace and didn't even know how to work that. But I went around and I knew that the very people that I wanted to serve needed help. And so I asked for it. And I found one person that said, I believe in your vision. I believe in your dream. They gave me my first house and then introduced me to a millionaire. The first millionaire I was introduced to, I literally pushed him out of the way because he had on slippers. I didn't know that was the guy. The same person that I came to meet, like he had on a t-shirt and slippers. I got on a 3-piece suit. I'm thinking that, you know, I didn't even notice the guy. I'm walking in the door. He's in my way. I pushed him out the way. And when we finally sat down, that guy cut me a check for $25,000 to my nonprofit, and then introduced me to all of his friends. He was the cheapest one out of everybody, by the way. But I got donations. You know why? Because I was persistent and I was consistent. Shara, can you share my screen? Let's go into this presentation. Then I'm going to introduce Felicia and Uncle Dave later on. And they're going to share their journey. They're going to talk about what they're doing out there in LA. And I want you guys to, whoever's in LA or in California, I want you guys to please get their numbers because they're going to be a part of our team. Shara, can you please share the screen?
Sure.
Thank you, dear. All right, can you open it up to the slides?
Yes, sir. Go out, please. There we go. Can you see it?
Yes, I can. Can everybody see this? All right.
Yes.
All right, let's go to the next slide, please. All right, so I want to talk about a couple of things. The 4 C's. What are the 4 C's and how to develop them? I want to talk about what is fundraising, how fundraising should be accomplished. I want to talk about outreach with proven strategies that will increase donor engagement. I want to talk about how to raise capital, be experienced, but looking how to build your potential client list. Okay, so what are the 4 C's? Go to the next screen, please.
Go out, sir. It's loading.
Okay, we'll get there. All right.
There you go.
There we go. All right. Commitment, consistency, continuum of care, case management. Go to the next screen. All right. So one of the things that she said was conviction and conflict does not live on the same block. Ooh, boy, that's a mouthful right there. Listen, you can be convicted by something, but still stay in that analyzing zone without getting into that, you know, that space of walking this thing out. You got to be committed to this thing. If you are expecting to take this thing to another level, then you really got to be consistent and committed. When I talk about consistency, I mean, every single week I would go out and I would go out there right where the homeless people are. And I would give them lunches. I got to a point, man, where I didn't have no money, but I just came out there just to give a word of comfort because I ran out of personal money. I didn't have no money. Nobody would give me anything, you know, and I was cool. Well, let me pull back. In the beginning, let me tell you my struggle. I shared my vision with a couple of my family members. They would not budge. In the beginning, they would not budge. Let me tell y'all something. Oh my God, if you really want to hear a dream killer, tell it to your family. Everybody was trying to talk me out of it. Everybody. But I was consistent. I went out there. Some people say they can't hear. Can we do something about that? Who all can hear? Oh, somebody say it's fine. All right, can you hear now? Hello?
I hear you.
All right, somebody say they can't hear.
Internet connection, sir.
Tanika Thompson says she can't hear. Can you hear now, Tanika? Okay. All right. So, yeah, so nobody would help me. So one of my students told me one day, and this was so good because I've been through it. She called me. She said she felt like giving up. She felt like throwing the towel in. Wasn't up, you know, everybody that started out with her, going out, feeding the homeless and everything, like they dropped out. And that's what people are going to do. But you know what I shared with her? I said, wait, let me ask you a question. Did God give that vision to them or give it to you? This is how God had to speak to me. He said, I didn't give this to your family. I didn't give, why are you sharing it with them anyway? Don't you remember the story of Joseph? And I'm like, oh, okay. And so I would get up, be motivated to go out there on my own because I knew what I was doing was going to bring in the rewards that I needed. Can you put yourself on mute who's coming in, please? Thank you. So I knew what I was doing was going to be rewarding, not just to enrich my pockets, but to impact my community. I knew it. And so I would go out and I told my student, I said, listen, is nobody going to actually see this because everybody wants to get paid. Everybody wants to get paid. That's a part of you, right? I say you get out there and you just keep going. You just keep going. Don't worry about who's not coming. You go. So she got 4 kids, so she would take her kids. And lo and behold, she riding through the community, she see a house, she goes inside. The guy said that the city is about to take the property from him. She asked him, she said, well, is it possible that you can actually allow my nonprofit to take over and relieve you of the burden that you got? The guy was like, yes, because I done ran out of money. They went to court. She ended up in court. The prosecutor would see her out there, saw her out there, remembered her nonprofit because she got a sign made and everything, and said, I remember what you're doing. I like that. Got the judge to agree. She acquired a $250,000 property with absolutely not a dime. But people say, well, she didn't put no money in. Yeah, but she put sweat equity in. She put time in. She was consistent and it actually paid off. So that day she walked away with 4 properties because there was other people in there struggling, going through the same process. Your nonprofit can actually get you property, but it's not going to get you property on the first door you knock on. It's not probably going to happen. Let's keep this real. Be realistic. You do not need to have your 501c3 in order for a person in that state, in that city, to give you a property. You can actually get that property, and when you get your 501c3, then you give them a tax donation letter. Okay? So it's possible. All right? The consistency comes in you knowing that this is your business. This is not a job. A job is something that you go trade time for dollars. This is a business. A business means that you got to constantly be in front of people, and you're only as good as the last customer you talk to. Who is your customer? Your customer are the consumers that are out there that are potentially end up in your house. Mm-hmm. Okay? What is continuum of care? Continuum of care is for those folks that are in need of services when they leave jail, when they leave treatment centers. So your nonprofit needs to be doing, write this down, y'all, case management. Your nonprofit needs to be doing case management. So every time you go out there with a pad. I got the forms that you need. So if anybody that's a paid client of mine and you're in need of these forms, please make sure that you put it into the chat right now that you need the need assessment form. Let me tell you what this is for. When you go out there and you start giving out bags, giving out lunches, you don't just walk away. You get that person's information, find out what their needs are, please. Find out what their needs are. If they don't have a job, if they don't have their food stamp, a lot of them, the reason why, a lot of them that are on disability, they will lose their check watch this, y'all, they will lose their check if they don't have an address. So your nonprofit can become an address for them, and you can become the actual guardian over that person, over that person's affairs. Man, y'all got to learn how to connect these dots, please. I've been dying to do this here because I can't wait. I just couldn't wait. And I was holding it in because I'm talking to you all and I'm hearing you, and all y'all keep saying is, okay, well, I got my nonprofit. What do I do with it? What do you mean? What do you do with it? You go out. You got to go out there and you got to plow the field. You got to get out of your comfort zone. You have to get out of your comfort zone, y'all. I was going into camps where the homeless folks were. The stench was so bad. Whew. I didn't want to make myself look bad. Like I used to carry cologne with me and I'll put it on my nose because the stench was so bad. But I had to meet people where they was. And I would go out there, I would pass my card out, and I would try my best to try to help them get either medical care or get them in treatment or something. I tried my best. And because I did that, I built relationships, y'all. And these folks started trusting me. They looked at me as somebody that cares. They looked at me as somebody that wasn't interested in how much money I can make, but how much value I can bring. Are you all with me on this? This is vital, y'all. This is important. So if you ask me, well, I don't know what my next steps are. Well, if I apply for your 501c3, I'm sorry, your nonprofit with the state, and we apply for the 501c3, these are the steps that you need to be doing. You need to do outreach. Let's go to the next screen, Shara. So what is outreach? I'm a minister. So for me, my ministry is not inside the four walls. My ministry is outside. My ministry is out there where the people that are in need of real help is. So outreach is the activity of providing services to any population that might not otherwise have access to those services. Okay, let me go a little further. You're supposed to be planning 4 outreaches a year with your nonprofit. Now we're going into 2022. So every quarter, your nonprofit needs to set some type of services that you want to do in the community with the sole purpose of helping folks that have been locked out of the healthcare system, addiction, housing, medical, psychological help. So how do you do it? You contact the hospitals, the community mental health facilities, insurance companies. You get them to come out and set up a booth under the tent of your nonprofit. I used to do bounce houses, so I would attract the kids. So when the kids come, the parents come, right? So I would go out, I would feed them. I got my hot dogs, I got my buns and all of that. I used to raise money just to do these big events, so we had cotton candy, we had all of that, bounce houses, all that. But the main thing is I would go to the hospitals, and my team, my board that I had, we would plan these sessions, and everybody had a part to play, okay? So somebody would be in charge of outreach, somebody would be in charge of communication, somebody would be in charge of media. So there was somebody that had to do something. So I would set up these meetings with y'all ever saw the blood banks? I mean, the blood mobiles, the mammogram mobiles, all of these are outreaches, and these big hospitals are looking for nonprofits to partner with. So you're now able to start marketing, put it out there. Listen, whoever is in your district, whatever commissioner, you need to set up a meeting with them. So y'all talking about you need something to do. I'm telling you what you need to do. Set up a meeting with them. Then get with the local radio station. You need 3 months in advance. And they would do a public announcement for your nonprofit, y'all, so that your nonprofit can now get branded. But who are your target market? Who are you reaching? You're reaching a marginalized people. People that are struggling with drugs and alcohol will probably never be able to afford first, last, and security without the wraparound services that your nonprofit is providing. Okay, go to the next screen. So the first thing we want to do is we want to identify what are your goals. I want to ask everybody on this training right now. Listen, do y'all wake up with a plan every day? Do y'all have goals set? Are y'all setting goals? Are you just trudging through life, hoping that things will come together for you? Or are you intentional? Are you setting goals for yourself? Are you setting goals for your nonprofit? I want everybody that's a part of this team to give me your mission statement and vision statement, not just for your nonprofit, but for your life. Give me a 3-year plan. For those that give me that plan, I got a special treat for you. All right? I want you to give me your plan. I want you to get into the habit of being intentional and setting those goals, making sure that every day you're walking through it and you're meeting those goals every day. Because if you don't have a plan for your life, you'll end up in somebody else's plan. That's why some of y'all still stuck on those jobs. Okay? So identify your goals. What do you want to achieve this week, this month, this year? Write them out, determine what steps you need to take to get there. Who is responsible for completing each step? What are the deadlines? What is the cost? How much would those steps be communicated to the people they apply to? Make both quantitative and qualitative goals. So you don't want to go too far out there that you can't meet it. Be realistic. Try the small things. You understand? Try the small things. Identify your brand and your audience. He who chased many rabbits don't eat. So you got to know exactly what target market that you want to target. Is it going to be veterans? Is it going to be women and children? Is it going to be mental health, substance abuse? Is it going to be a shelter? You got to know exactly who your target market is. And I want you to write it out. Okay? I want you to write it out. Research opportunities and challenges. What other organizations are working toward the same or similar missions as yours? Whew, this is important. Let me touch this for a second. All right. So if you're talking about doing nonprofit, and you want to get grant money, let me tell you one of the reasons why you may not get it. Because you did not do research in terms of finding out what other organizations are doing the exact same thing. You can't duplicate services if you're working within a 10-block radius of a similar organization. Okay? So if you got one organization that's doing the exact same thing, you have to collaborate with them and just do something a little bit different. Don't tell me that you can't figure out something. All you got to do is find out what the problem is. Listen, Dr. Miles Monroe, one of my heroes, my mentors, he died. But he had this humongous ministry worldwide. I met with him one day at breakfast. He was doing a leadership training. And he said to us in the group, he said, if you can solve a problem, you can make $1 million. I said, that sounds so simple, but it's so true. He picked up a Q-tip. He said, this came from an idea. And now that person is a multimillionaire. I'm like, wow. I'm saying this because of this. we're going to always have people going in and out of jails. We're going to always have people that's going to be on drugs and alcohol. What we need to do is find out the problem and we can find the solution. What are the root causes of people constantly on this treadmill? What are the root causes of people that are constantly blaming everybody else? And then we look at them and we judge them. But what we don't understand is perhaps they had some issues with their childhood. So in dealing with that, that's considered mental health. That's considered behavioral health problems. So coming up with solutions and ideas to get that done, that's a way that we can actually help people. I like that, imposter syndrome. Thank you, Kitty. Go to the next screen, please. Define your strategies. Now, I do strategy sessions with my people that have reached probably that 6th training, where we start talking about different strategies. So once you've thought about some of the points above, you'll have a better grasp on what you need to do. For example, if all your volunteers are heavily engaged in social media, start a Facebook group for them. Are donors seeking more involvement? Host more events for fundraising and volunteer opportunities. 5, determine a plan to make this system habitual. Keep what works and change what didn't. If you continue outreach work, you're doing great. Remember that community and connection are what keeps your mission moving. I want you to consider this. Me and my team, we have sessions every Monday. We go over some of the things that are working, some of the things that are not. I look at it like this. If you had a grocery store, you have to do inventory. You have to go through your shelf at night when nobody's there, and you got to see what's selling and what's not selling. For those things that are not selling, you take it off the shelf. Perhaps you might want to move it closer that people can see it. So you got to always constantly be doing these back and forth, analyzing your strategies. You got to find out what's working and what's not working. And you can't do this alone. So if you have a nonprofit and you have a board, you guys, please set your first board meeting up. Rachel Labors, are you in this meeting? I'm hoping she is. If you are, unmute yourself for a second, please. Rachel is one of my students, been with me for a minute. She has her board meetings every single month, on point. And we're going to talk about that a little bit later. Rachel is not here. Okay. So very important, you guys, if you got a board, you say, well, here's what I always tell people. I don't care if you get Ray, Pookie Lamb, whoever, just get your board together and let's just apply. Now it's time for you to start working on your board. So if you have somebody that say they want to be a part of your board, perhaps you are a novice, you don't know what to do, put me on the line. Let's set up a board meeting. Okay, that's one of your goals, y'all. For 2022, I need to be in a board meeting every single day. I got over 1,000 students. I need to be, so we got over 50 people on this line right now. You got to start having your board meetings. You got to start working. Okay, let's go to the next screen. Fundraising. Wow. Show me the money. What is fundraising? Fundraising simply is the process of soliciting and gathering money or other materials in kind from people and organizations, public and private, for some worthy cause or reasons. How should fundraising be accomplished? There are many profitable ideas that are available when conducting fundraising activities. Look for one that does not require a startup capital and will generate the money that your team or group needs. Now, let me tell you one of the fundraising things that I did. Number one, I had a team that's all we did. We thought about, planning fundraising. I did one big event, a black tie event every single year. I learned that from somebody that's they passed on, but they were very influential in my community down here in South Florida. They showed me exactly what to do. I went to the first fundraiser. Listen, it was a $1,000 plate. Whoo boy, $1,000 a plate, y'all. Oh my God. But they took me to this fundraiser. I paid my $1,000. I paid to learn, y'all. I sat there in that fundraising and I counted the heads. It was over 300 people in that meeting, in that ballroom. And I'm like, whoa. And every year they get more and more. So I'm like, man, you know, the first thing I said, I can't do this. And then something nudged me and said, why? If he can, you can too. So I started small. I started with the people that I knew. And I did my fundraising right in my church. And I charged $10 tickets, right? For my fundraiser. I got over 20 people that came. But guess what? If I wouldn't have never went to that meeting, I wouldn't have never got the idea to do it. So my mentor told me it wasn't about how much money I can raise, but how much awareness that I could bring to my cause. And so as I began to develop it, I got up to $500 a plate. And it morphed into me, being able to get, hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars. Now that was years down the road, but if you don't start somewhere, you won't never get there, y'all. So if you need help with strategizing this, we can get that done. The other thing is when you do get your housing program, please have some type of revenue stream coming in, such as create a business. Please put yourself on mute. You just came in. Thank you. And welcome, welcome, welcome. So I started a car wash and a lawn service. I started generating over $8,000, y'all, a week. That was able to pay my staff and everybody. Okay, so those are two things that you could definitely do under your nonprofit to create revenue. Also, I use my nonprofit as a community development corporation. So I was able to acquire property under my nonprofit. So that's another strategy that we'll talk about in terms of fundraising. Go to the next screen, please. And we're almost done. Next screen, Shara. Shara. Thank you.
The last page.
Great. All right, this is it, y'all. So raising capital. Come on, go to the next one. This is it, right? So you want to talk about raising capital? I got some strategies that will help you raise capital. It doesn't matter how good, how bad your credit is. That has absolutely not a whole lot to do with, okay? Because we're going to talk about the utilizing and leveraging your nonprofit so that you can bring awareness and attract donors that will actually contribute to your cause. But if you don't say anything, then you will not get anything. You got to get used to the people telling you no. It's okay for them to say no. Get some skin. Get thick skin, y'all. It's okay if they say no. Fine. That's not a problem. All you do is say next, and then you turn right back around and you go right back to them. I got fundraising letters. I got proven letters that I know work, that knows how to generate emotions from people that will pretty much hit them right where they they have that passion for. So there are so many different psychological triggers involved with fundraising that you're able to actually attract the kind of donors that are pretty much leaning toward that cause. Okay, so with this, Shara, can you come out, allow me to bring my special guests in? Felicia and Uncle Dave, can you unmute and come on and talk to us about what you're doing?
Hi, Keith. Thanks so much for having us on.
Hey, Keith.
So I'm Felicia, and this is Uncle Dave. And oh my gosh, if I want to catch your enthusiasm, I love it. I think if everybody caught your enthusiasm, they'd be really successful and have their houses filled and be helping their community. I just think it's so wonderful. And I really like how you formatted this, and it's a great experience for everybody. So a little bit about Uncle Dave and myself. I'm just going to give you a little background on us. We met in drug rehab treatment center in Los Angeles. I was addicted to meth and had to go to rehab. And David, you can tell your part.
And I was pretty successful. I was making $100,000 a year, but because of my child support and my rent, I was living paycheck to paycheck, robbing Peter to Paul. Finally, I got frustrated, went to the dark side of the fence, started doing fraud, started doing checks, started manufacturing meth. Finally, I got busted. I went to prison, did a couple of years in prison. When I came out, I went to a rehab called Beit Teshuvah. It's a Jewish rehab in Los Angeles, where I met Felicia and changed my way of thought. You know, they put me back to school. I became a drug and alcohol counselor. I worked at Tarzana Treatment Center for years in detox. But as people were leaving, they had no place to go. And I got very frustrated. And Felicia, go ahead and interject.
Oh, and here I was. I'm a real estate lawyer. So I knew a lot about real estate and everything. And one of my clients she was telling me how she needed to evict all these guys that lived in her house. And I wasn't quite sure what she was talking about. So I said, let me send someone over, because it didn't really sound like she needed legal help. And I sent Uncle Dave over. And sure enough, it was a group home. And he learned the ropes. He collected the rent from her.
She needed some muscle.
Yeah. And he turned around to me and said, you know what? We can do this. And I'll tell you, in the beginning, oh my God.
What year was that?
2008 or 9.
Wow.
Yeah. So we were really, we tried to get a house. We tried to buy a house, but as you know, real estate prices in California are ridiculous. We tried to buy it at a foreclosure sale. I sent him to the court steps with cash to buy it. But of course, there's too many sharks there that just had, $100,000 check, $125,000 check, $150,000. They could outbid us 1, 2, 3. But, as you were talking about, we just put the word of mouth out there, and some hard money lender gave us a reference to these two guys that had remodeled an apartment building, and they gave us our first chance. It was a 5-unit apartment building with a house in front in South Central Los Angeles.
Really in the hood.
Across the street from the projects. And we looked at each other and said, can we do this? This is bigger than what we were looking for. And you know what? By the grace of God, we did it. And then, today we have been so successful. We now have 6 facilities in South Los Angeles, 170 beds with a 95% capacity all the time. And when we started out, we weren't a nonprofit. There's a lot of benefits to becoming a nonprofit. And one question that I think a lot of people may have, well, if your company's not for profit, how do you make a profit? Well, you pay yourself a salary. So I get a nice salary. I get a nice 6-figure salary every year.
Wait, you get a nice what? How many?
6 figures.
6 figure. Okay.
Okay.
But it took a lot of work. We used to market like crazy. I used to go downtown from one agency to the next. I used to come visit Felicia at her lunchtime. I used to come, honey, let's go market. I'd hit it one agency after another. I can go down Fifth in San Pedro, which is the hardest Skid Row, walk down the street and everybody will say, "Hi, Uncle Dave, how you doing?"
They know him
They
in
all
Skid
know
Row.
me, okay? Because I don't tell anybody no, all right? Anybody that needs a place, I will get them in our place. I'll get them on GR. I'll get them through the housing.
What is GR?
General relief.
It's for people in California that are poor, and it's cash aid that you can apply for. So if you're not employed and you have no income, no social security, you get about $225 a month plus food stamps. So in general relief, and then in Los Angeles, they have a housing program that we get them on.
Where
And
the state will pay you rent.
exactly.
And so that's our process. You know, when I went to Beit Yeshuva, when I went into rehab, my rabbi, who I love very much, says, you know, we don't turn anybody away. And I listen to him, and I don't turn anybody away. You know, everybody has a soul, and everybody has a right to use that soul as I do, and do God's work.
Just like in that video you showed of that lady that was so motivational. We believe in second chances, whether it's 999 times, 1,000 times, reset.
You know,
reset.
Someone gave me a second chance and a third chance, and in one of these chances, I just caught hold. And because of that, I am where I am today, as I give other people chances. And everybody gets pissed at me. Said, you know, on my staff says, "Dave, you got too big of a heart." I don't have too big of a heart.
Yeah, you do.
Giving another chance.
We lose money because he has too big of a heart. But you know what? The more you give, I believe the more you get out of it. So, you know, good stuff happens. Like we, just off the top of my head, with the police officers in Los Angeles, they are able to drop somebody off at our house and we can protect them or give them housing.
We had the health department come in and rate us one of the top that he's ever seen as far as cleanliness in transitional housing, which, you know, was a real benefit and an honor to us.
So, but I think you wanted us to talk more about nonprofit or fun.
No, I wanted you to tell your story. That's inspiring.
Okay. I just didn't know which way. So we've done there's so many people out there that need help. And where I've seen that people need help are actually the group home owners and the operators and the managers. So we're switching our model kind of, well, we're keeping Uncle Dave's because we can never say no to our guys. But we're going to coach the homeowners and the operators and teach them how to become profitable, whether it's a corporation, an LLC, or a nonprofit. And I did the nonprofit paperwork myself. I can remember doing the application. And I just want to share a story. You know, I don't recommend you doing it yourself. I recommend you hiring someone to do the nonprofit paperwork. But one night, it was all these papers all over the bed. I had them spread, and you had to put them in order. And I was just screaming. I could not put them in order. You know, and I called up my best friend. She came over and put them all in order for me. And I'm like, we're never going to get accepted. We're never going to get accepted. Sure enough, housing is really it's a basic need. So any housing operation really can become a nonprofit. And with being a nonprofit, there's more grants available. Yes, grants are not always easy to write. There are classes you can take to write grants. Some are easier. It depends. In Los Angeles, getting government grants is difficult because Los Angeles Housing, we have the Los Angeles Housing Services Authority, LASA, and they don't have their act together. They pass the funds to other organizations, which we and then get the funds from. So we don't get it directly from the government. I tried. It's too frustrating to try and work with the government here in Los Angeles, just because the way Los Angeles handles federal funds. But there are lots of capacity grants. I would look for a capacity grant. And I remember you, Keith, also had somebody on about some grants. You did a video or something.
Yeah. So my grant writer is Miss Juanita Grant. We have a coalition of nonprofit housing agencies under us. And our coalition is called Hubcap.
Oh, great.
And she's pretty much the underwriter. So the federal government sends the money to her. She disperses them to the nonprofit housing program throughout the country.
She should probably give Los Angeles Housing Authority a lesson or two, or teach them what to do.
Well, I don't know if Joshua, you on the line, Joshua Squire? Joshua, you there?
I don't see him. Oh, he's not there, but I see his screen.
Yeah, but he
Living room,
so
it's very
I
beautiful.
have Natalie. Natalie, can you come in for a second?
Yes, sir. I'm here. Sorry,
All right.
it has been in my brother's name for some reason. It's his Zoom, but it's me.
Okay, cool. So Natalie, can you tell us a little bit about the grant writing course and Miss Juanita and what you've received recently?
Absolutely, man. Let me tell you, Miss Juanita is what we call the truth. Okay. I reached out to her, and she said, "Hey, if you're ready to get started," she sent me the email. I talked to my board. It was like, "Okay, let's do it." And when I called her, I said, "Okay, Miss Juanita, we're ready." She says, "Well, how soon are you ready?" I said, "As soon as possible." She said, "Well, are you ready today?" And I'm like, "Okay, yes, ma'am. I am ready today." So literally that. Actually, the next day we had 4 sessions. Within 2 days, we had 4 sessions, and we worked whatever hours. She was like, "What time do you want to do it?" And I was like, "I'm ready to go as quickly as you want to give me the information. I will." That's how dedicated she was. But we did the first grants that we did. We did 25 Walmart grants. Just as a matter of fact, it was a week and a half ago, and I got my first grant. I deposited it today, as a matter of fact. I don't know if you guys can see it. For $3,750.
Hey.
Yeah. So again, we
Money you never have to pay back.
never have to pay back. Absolutely. No, there's no stipulations that go with that. I put that directly in our nonprofit account. So that was the first of the 25 grants that we did in a matter of a couple of hours. Literally, it took minutes to do that. So she's awesome.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. Yeah. And, besides just getting the grants, like you mentioned, a Walmart one, there's lots of private foundations, lots of corporations, Home Depot, just your local, stores have grants or give out money and donations. And another thing too that I would mention, I don't know what happened to the screen.
No, that's me. Go ahead.
Okay. When you ask someone to be on a board, normally you ask them for some type of donation, and you ask the board members to raise a certain amount of money. So our board members donate 500, and we ask them to raise 2,500 each with other people. And so when we also started, I know I'm jumping around. We also have, if you can get as a nonprofit, your utilities, get a discount on your utilities, a 20% discount.
Y'all hear that, right?
And then we had a Bed Bath and Beyond partnership for
Years.
2 or 3 years. Yeah. Where we went every week and we got all the return merchandise, all their defective merchandise, but sometimes it was just fine. Pillows, sheets, stuff for the kitchen. It was amazing. All the things that we,
For instance, yesterday I just picked up 6 pallets from Walmart of
no,
pillows.
Hollander beds.
I just picked up 6 pallets of pillows yesterday that, it was free. Brand new.
Donations. And we also right now have we just started a partnership with Walmart, but they're not used to the donations yet. So the donations haven't been quite useful as the Bed Bath and Beyond were.
Well, one of my students got about 25,000 from Walmart right there in LA.
It was a grant, probably. They have a great grant program, and so does Home Depot. Target does too. I mean, I'm always surprised. And even like Trader Joe's, I've gone in and they've given me a donation of food and said, here's, $500, go pick out whatever you want in food.
Awesome.
Or, we don't serve food anymore, but when we did, that was one of the things. And there's a lot of websites too that will help you find the right grants for your organization, but you also should start local and talk to other agencies. Like what I did, I've researched over the years, all the agencies that have an interest in housing, because that's what we do at Uncle Dave's Housing. We provide housing and we don't do any of the other services. So all the agencies that help people with employment or help people after they exit out of prison or jail, or help them just, they all need to find housing. So a lot of these agencies do even have their own monies too, to provide as a grant or to pay for housing. Like Homeboys Industry is a big organization in Los Angeles, and they basically get the gang members who come out of jail. They employ them, get them work.
And Homeboys, and we house them.
But
Awesome.
they're,
Awesome.
so, and I would make these lists and find out who the person is to talk to at each agency. And then I'm not really good one-on-one in person. Uncle Dave is. So I sent him, he paved that pavement in downtown Los Angeles, and he would go knocking on everybody's door.
So Uncle Dave, we got a question for you. How did you market the return items from Bed Bath & Beyond?
We wouldn't market it, we use it.
We used it for our houses.
We use it. We would get shit.
I mean, did you guys just knock on the door and say, hey, can you give
it
me
was
some
through
stuff?
another agency that
Oh.
we signed up because you're a nonprofit. There's a lot of agencies out there that want to help nonprofits. So that one I don't
I
remember
want
off
to tell
the
you
bat.
an interesting story about marketing.
Yeah, this is
Felicia used to come with me, and she sent me.
no. You can tell that. Okay, all right. I'm gonna get embarrassed.
That's all right. I love you, baby. So I would do all the marketing. I go in and introduce myself, find the person I needed to talk to, and give them my spiel. And I said, so we walked into one place. I said, honey, you do this one. So she walked in with a flyer and just says, can I leave a flyer on the desk? And we provide housing. I said, excuse me, honey. I said, who's in charge of housing here? Well, in 2 seconds, I was in front of the main person. It was Kate.
Los Angeles Centers for Alcohol Treatment.
And all of a sudden, where have you been all my life? And it's, you have to directly talk to the person in charge. Don't leave a flyer because it's just going to go in the trash can.
That's right. Thank you. Thank you.
Happy to see you.
Thank you. Thank you. Listen, y'all, I get it. Some of y'all may be scared to talk to people, but let me tell you something. You got to be personable. Set the appointments to come in and speak one-on-one.
Okay.
But in order to do that, you got to have product knowledge. So you got to study what is your actual services that you're providing.
Absolutely, Keith. But Keith, when I go in, they always ask, do you have an appointment? And I stay right up to them. They don't need an appointment to see me. I need to talk. I need to see the person in charge of housing, and they'll get them for me.
And Uncle Dave, he's so great at that. I mean, that's how
I'm like that too, Dave. I kick the dough in. I just, I'm just like
they're
that.
go-getters.
You
You
have to.
both
You
do.
have to.
Yeah.
I love it.
I ain't gonna be denied. Trust me.
Yeah.
But I want to listen. So I don't really keep the meeting very, very long. I keep 1 hour and I'm in and out. I got ADD, y'all. So y'all got to
So
excuse
do
me.
I.
So I want to thank everybody for coming on. And I do have some information that I'm going to share with everybody that actually is a part of the Mastermind training. For those that have not, joined the Mastermind training, I admonish you, please set the appointment. Let's make it happen. I'm here to help everybody. So I will meet you wherever you are. Hey, Roy, good to see you, bro. I see you back there with your quiet self. Roy just got his property. He's about to open up pretty soon. So I want everybody, please. I want you to share this video with everybody that you can. Felicia and Uncle Dave, can you guys put your phone number inside the chat box?
That's so funny. I am doing that right now, putting our emails and Uncle Dave's phone number, which is the business phone number to call. And anybody feel free to contact us. I mean, we're starting SOS, sharing our secrets about the housing and how to do it and how to make money. So many people will open up a house and are like, well, I got 3 people in. How do you make money? Well, let us teach you. We've done it. We want to mentor people. We want to give back. It's time.
So they're joining the team, y'all. I got some help.
Yep. And we're going to help your guys too, Keith. You help my guys, and we'll help yours. And that's, the way you do it. You collaborate. You work with other people. You got to network. It's just about, I don't like to say no. I want to help as many people as I can.
consistency. You got to be consistent. So I got these sources right here that gives out grants that you basically don't even, like the Cape Branch Foundation. I just talked to them tonight. I talked to the lady, name is Chrissy. That's her name. So all you got to do is put your proposal in. They will pretty much review it. If you qualify, look how much the grants are. The lowest grant is 5,000. The highest grant, the average is 187,000.
Keith, we just got one for $500,000.
See, come on, y'all. Look at that. See that?
That's why SOS is starting, because Uncle Dave's is going to be fine for a long time. But
yes,
I just have so much money that I need to go and help other people.
Now, did y'all get that on the first? Did y'all get that in the first month you started?
No, we've been doing.
Did y'all get it in the first year you started?
12 years. 2010. We opened.
It takes time, y'all, but you will get there. Now we're gonna shorten that process up because we're mentors. So the mistakes we made, y'all ain't got to make those. The rabbit holes we went down, y'all ain't got to go down those.
We've made every mistake you can think of, and that's, you know.
We've opened and closed houses. I mean, we were kicked out of a city. We had to close 2 sober livings in Pasadena because the city kicked us out.
The NIMBY law, not in my
Pasadena is horrible.
It's the snobbiest city. We have stories, and every day it's drama. We've got drama. We should be a reality show.
Maybe that's on my bucket list, you know.
Reality show, let's do it.
A sober living reality show. Yes, it is.
Florida or Los Angeles.
Yes, it is. So again, I want to thank everybody. You will get some of these, you will get all of the funding sources that I have. I want you all to send me a personal email asking me for this information. For those that are not part of my mastermind training, contact me, Elder Keith at elderkeithhilms@gmail.com or keith@openupahalfwayhouse.com. Shara will be sending, you guys will get an email with all of that stuff to contact us. Okay, so I want to thank you all so much for coming on this. I will see you guys for next month. We're going to have this live again. We're going to talk about some other stuff. I got some secrets that I'm going to give out to y'all. And what we was, the services that we added, it's going to be phenomenal, y'all. So we're about to actually help you guys get property, get funding, and everything. That's coming up in 2022.
Don't have to
do it
alone. You got Keith and you got us.
Stay tuned. Don't go nowhere.
Thanks for having us, Keith. This is a lot of fun. Thank you so much.
I appreciate it so much, and I'll call you guys later. But thank y'all so much. All right.
Keith, can we have a photo ops?
Yes, we need a photo op with everybody. This is what we do at when we get ready to end.
Can you please stop sharing first? Thank you.
Okay. All right.
All right. Everybody, please turn on your cameras.
Put on your best
Thank
face.
you for the first page. Okay.
Tom, you look like you're 16, boy.
For the second page. Come on, keep that smile up. Thank you so much.
All right. Everybody give yourself a hand clap. All right, let's close this out in prayer. Father, we thank you for this gracious opportunity to come together. We know that you have ordained this, and we pray over everybody's business and ministry, and we prophesy that it will progress, and we're going to take over our cities. In Jesus' name, hallelujah. Bless you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Elder Keith.